Welcome to another episode of the STR Sisterhood. I'm your host, Stacey St. John, and I am so delighted to be spending some time with you today. Now, before we jump into this episode, I want to share a quote with you that I recently read that resonated with me. And it says, "When you know yourself and your strengths, there is always something you can do to raise the standard for everyone." And those encouraging words come to us from former professional soccer player Megan Rapinoe. Now, in this episode, we are sitting down with Ishita Lalan, and we are talking all things interior design. And let me tell you, Ishita is doing some super exciting projects with some fabulous folks in this industry, and I can't wait for you to meet her. So without further ado, let's jump into my conversation with Ishita. So today we are joined by Ishita Lalan, and we are here to talk about everything design. Ishita, thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you for having me, Stacey. I was looking forward to it, having a conversation with you. Been on, an audience to your podcast, and you have some great insights, learned a lot. So thank you for having me.
Oh my goodness. Well, the pleasure is mine. And I have so many questions to ask you. But first, I want to just start with the very basics. Let's have you share with our audience a little bit about who you are and what you do.
Absolutely. So I'm Ishita, and I am an interior designer. If some of you follow our work, you guys would have heard us in some of Facebook groups or some people's work that you would have come across, or in our Instagram page. So we are short-term rental designers. We help, my journey started as an investor myself. So it started back in 2019 when my husband and we got into the world of short-term rentals, and that itself is a story, how we got into it. But then because of my background being in interior design and, us wanting to venture into lifestyle investments, whatever acquisitions were, we were literally putting in an effort to make it appealing. Then back in 2019, when people were getting into more turnkey projects, anything was doing well because you didn't have as much of inventory at that time. So I think that's what got noticed. And then that I was able to offer it to people, because once people found me on Facebook groups, they reached out, and then it just spread like as a word of mouth. And today I've helped more than 300 other hosts design their short-term rentals and, building wealth for themselves. So I am absolutely grateful for what I do every day, and I love it.
Absolutely. It's, there's something to be said for doing work that you're passionate about and that you love. And before we pushed record, we were talking about how modern technology, we wouldn't have it any other way. And being in a situation where I do get to do stuff that I love each and every day and spend my time with amazing people that I adore and cherish.
Yeah.
It makes me feel so blessed to be able to have my paychecks fueled by my passions. And that isn't always the case. And it hasn't always been the case for me in my life. I'm just curious what this line of work has sparked within you. Why do you love it so much? Is it the creativity? Is it the people? Is it the real estate? What does that look like on your end?
Oh, it's so many things. And let me start from the very, very beginning, right? So I have always been a design student. I have an architecture as my background. And architecture is a little bit slow-paced field, because those buildings and commercial buildings or residential buildings take good 3 to 5, sometimes 10 years to get up and running, especially when I come from a country like India. That is where my background was. Construction is brick and concrete. It's mortar buildings. They take a while to build. So I absolutely loved when, the vision came to life and we were just giving people new home, new offices, new beginnings, and spreading smiles. That has always been my passion. But the only thing was like the slow paced industry just got too draggy for me. At that point, I literally caveated, took a turn a little bit and pivoted to what's called set designing. So I wanted a little bit, fast paced work, and hence I got into something, set designing, and I was designing sets for Bollywood, and advertisements, film sets, and that was like go, go, go. You had no breath to catch. There were no weekends, no work-life balance. Did it for 2.5 years, got burnt out. And then obviously life took different path. I had to move here to the US when I got married. And I think what short-term rental brought into my life when my husband and I decided to, look into we were literally chasing fire movement. We were like, okay, we don't want to be working. We love traveling. We want to be financially independent. Short-term rental literally fell in our lap and we just grabbed it and then we went with it. It's a perfect amalgamation of the two. So it is not super slow paced. It's right in the middle where you're turning these houses in like, what we do is more value add. So it's a bit of construction involved in it. So it takes around 3 to 4 months to get any property from, start to the finish. So the speed of the profession, I absolutely love. I think it's a pace that I thrive in the best. Secondly, I would say short-term rental has been a game changer in my life as an investor. So it has literally changed our lives, not only my own, but it has had a ripple effect in our family's life as well. We are able to, the financial freedom, we are able to work for ourselves, we are able to travel, we are able to work from wherever we want, we are able to help. So to help other people do the same thing and achieve that, it's so gratifying every day. I get clients who have saved up this money and are, they come with hope. And they come with that I am trusting you to invest right and make decisions for us so that this helps us to build wealth and we can achieve this passive income and achieve financial freedom one day. So that is the second portion. And that takes, I feel so grounded every day because I'm really helping them build life. I mean, it's gratifying, but it's a lot of pressure too.
Sure.
You have to do it right. And the third is like, the people I work with day in and day out, not only clients, but that we are able to give so much work to the community, in terms of, and there have been some life-changing stories in our own team that have started who came in on board as probably Airbnb, like just cleaners. And today they are, muralists and they have this management company. They're full-time with us and they don't have to worry about paycheck to paycheck. They're really thriving. And those stories really motivate me every day that we are able to do that through our own work, So
Yes.
Yeah, all of this together, I think I absolutely love what I do and I wouldn't trade it for anything else.
Yes. I totally resonate with that. And I feel the exact same way, although I am not a designer in any stretch of the imagination. I absolutely can understand the level of fulfillment that you have in your work. I feel the exact same way. So I love that. One of the things that I want to ask you about is the high return on investment upgrades that you're seeing people make. And so often I see real estate investors who may be new into the short-term rental space investing money in things that I'm thinking, ooh, I don't know that that's really going to get you what you're looking for as far as either appreciation or higher cash flow. I'm just curious, from your perspective, being on the professional side of the design industry, what are some of the best upgrades that you are seeing drive impact when it comes to return on investment with property upgrades these days?
Well, I know the industry, sometimes, especially sometimes new investors who are vetted investors, they would know. But I often see in this industry that people are so caught up with just the cash flow aspect of the whole game that sometimes it feels scary to me. Cash flow is great. That's what we are all striving for. But real estate game has so much more to it. Like the whole force appreciation game, that is what you're able to do. And I think design is able to help you with that. And I mean, for us, my husband and I, and that's what we're doing with a whole lot of our clients, value add deals in our own portfolio has been absolutely game changing.
Mhm.
Right. We have bought properties that needed work, needed love. We have added square footage. We have added amenities. We have added, made it the top performing property in that particular market, which has not only force appreciated the value of the property, has given us the top dollar in terms of the cash flow, has given us the great tax benefit in when we do cost seg. So these are the three amalgamation that you need together to get the highest return on your investment.
Mhm.
So I would just say, like, what are the what you should look forward to, or all other investors out there? When you buy a property, look for potential. Where can you add some square footage? Is there an unfinished basement or unfinished storage room that you can convert probably into a bedroom? Can you add more heads and beds in that rooms to increase the occupancy from 12 to 16? Now you are in your comp properties is in a larger bucket. You can demand for a bigger ADR right there. And then I would say always study your market. If you are in that 3-bedroom home, what are the 3-bedroom top performing properties in that market doing? What amenities are they giving? That is like the bare minimum amenities that you need to provide to even stand out. And then you got to analyze, all right, I'm giving all the amenities that my competitors are giving. What does my property allow me to go step ahead, take one or two more steps to beat that competition and be the top in that performing in that market. So that's what I would suggest. Just study the market and make sure that you can add value to the property. I think that is a game changer.
I love that you are talking about forcing appreciation and buying properties that need TLC. When I started out in the world of short-term rentals, I always said that I love buying ugly condos. So I purchased the majority of my portfolio is located in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. And I bought and renovated 8 ugly condos in my first year. Okay.
Yeah.
There is something about doing a renovation that scares a lot of people. And for some reason, it doesn't scare you or me. Okay. Yeah. Talk to me about what you have found to be most impactful when it comes to keeping a renovation on schedule, on budget. How have you navigated supporting renovations, and what key takeaways can you share with our audience?
I just feel like everyone's appetite is different, right? And there are different kinds of renovations out there, because you can literally take a property that needs a whole lot of work and it's a trash, and then you're converting into something gold. And there are some properties that have like light renovations and you can get away with it. So you literally need to know what your appetite is. Secondly, I would say, if you think you have too much on your bandwidth, right? If you have a W-2 job, you have a family to take care of, then hire a professional. Like, hire a professional that you can trust and can lead that project, and you just have like touch base points with them once a week, and the project is going and it is not solely dependent on you. Because I'm really I face it day to day. Dealing with contractors is not easy. I'm in this profession. It is tough job. So make sure that you hire a professional if you don't have the bandwidth. Second, if you have the bandwidth, then I would just say map out the project really nicely, right? From contract, if you know for sure that you're going to close on that property, get the floor plans measured, get all the measurements that you need, make sure that whatever the lead items are you adding a hot tub, a sauna? Probably those are 4-week out timeline from the date of ordering to the delivery date. Get them ordered first and set them for delivery. Start making your mood boards, or start making your color palette, start selecting furniture, what you want, and then map it out based on the delivery dates, because when they can arrive, and then you can start scheduling that get on the Facebook groups and get in touch with other hosts in that area for recommendations of some contractors who are vetted, who had their great experience, some great referrals that you can get. Put them in your piggy bank so that you can get in touch with them, get on their schedule, and plan it accordingly. So these are some of the ways: knowing your appetite, making sure that you're hiring professional if you don't have the time, and if you do, then plan out the whole schedule from contract to closing.
Yeah. Now I'm curious, from your perspective, managing different projects, I am guessing that you are managing them in multiple locations. So talk to me a little bit about how you navigate being in one physical location, but you have projects going on in other geographies.
Right. So for our case, we are a little bit different. We do give virtual design services across the country. We are very transparent with our clients that we literally do in-person design in 2-hour radius where we are. So I am in Asheville, North Carolina. I do not spread myself in terms of full execution beyond this point because I know it is not manageable. So either it is us providing the virtual design and, working hand in hand with the client, and they are dealing with the contractors if a property is in Sedona. So we have a group chat with the contractors, the clients, my internal team, and myself on a group chat. So we are always talking, and they get whatever they need from us or any dependencies. But usually my full execution projects, I like to keep it within the 2-hour radius, which I am able to easily go.
Sure.
Yeah.
I was going to say, I've done multiple projects down in Myrtle Beach. I live in Ohio, so I'm about 10 hours away.
Yep.
And so, you talked about finding the right contractors. I think that is so paramount that we find the right people, because number one, we have to be able to trust their word, that they're actually doing what they're saying they're going to do. Secondly, I think it's paramount because we need to be able to be in constant communication with our contractors, and setting expectations for those contractors is absolutely critical. I would also say it's super duper important when hiring a contractor that you understand line item costs, that they're not just giving you one number at the bottom. Yes. You're understanding the breakdown of the costs. And I would say also it's so important to make sure that your contractor knows what they can and can't do, meaning they can shift things in the budget from one line item to another, or they cannot, or what do those parameters look like? Because I think in the absence of having super Loctite details, it can be really easy for those contractor relationships to go awry.
Yeah, absolutely. And I've had nightmare experiences, right? Like, even if we are in this world day in and day out, I won't claim myself that being perfect. But, I told you, I took a project we take 2-hour radius projects. I took a project in Tennessee. My team in Nashville was pretty slammed with a lot of projects going on. So initially the plan was my team would go to Tennessee and they will execute the project. Couldn't fit our schedules. I literally vetted like 8 different contractors, was there for two days, meeting each and every one, walking them through the scope of work and whatnot, selected one. Their reviews were promising and whatnot, but my experience wasn't the best at all. They can take the benefit that you are not around. Even though if I was 2 hours away, I could go swing by. So I would make my trips every 2 weeks, but I couldn't see the progress. Mm-hmm. And it was just nightmare. And then I had to make my team go and complete the work. So I'm able to do that because I'm just 2 hours away. I have a team here who are able to do that. But there have been some real bad situations too. So you really need to be on top of them.
Yeah, absolutely. I want to go back to adding square footage, because that is, as you know, one of the best ways to force appreciation, either adding square footage, adding bedrooms, bathrooms.
Yes.
For someone who doesn't necessarily have experience in that or an eye for that, yes, can you help break down some key items to look for to help someone recognize, is that even possible? Besides, okay, we've got an unfinished basement. Are there any other tips or tricks you might have for someone who is looking at a property or maybe has a property in their portfolio that they could force appreciation with?
I would say definitely unfinished spaces are the best way to understand, to see that, okay, you can add some bedrooms or sleeping areas or rec room area. Other way to force appreciate, I think, would be we've done multiple projects where we have few examples. So I'll just give you two different examples. And one example I will give you, which is literally backed by numbers that I have from recent appraisal and whatnot. And I think that would be an eye opener for a lot of your audiences. So one would be, I was working on a project in Kentucky, and there was a loft bedroom there. We could add like 2 queen beds, but the way the floor plan was set up was the third floor had 4 bedrooms just sharing 1 common bath. And then there was a loft bedroom where we were adding 2 queens. So now you have probably 10 people sharing 1 bath, which was not ideal. But then there was a space that was more utility. There were HVAC and whatnot that was just kept in there. We literally borrowed some room from the loft and added to and converted that HVAC service lines. We pushed it back and made it into a full bath. So now that, you just have to have an eye probably when you get a Matterport floor plan. Even if if a designer for you is not, if you don't have an eye, always hire a designer. I would say a professional will definitely help you carve these spaces for you more efficiently. And if you do, always look out, like the ratio between the beds and the bathrooms are very, very important. So that became such a huge value add that not only added a bathroom in the loft area, but now it's more easy. Now 4 people sharing 1 bathroom versus 10 people sharing 1 bathroom. So that would be another way. The best way, I think, value add is like garages. Now, I'm not claiming that every garage can be converted, because I've seen there are a lot of restriction in a lot of other areas. Like Sedona is very strict about permits and whatnot. So you have to check the permits in the market that you're in. But most of it has been very, very easy for us to convert garages. So now this 300, 400, sometimes 600 square feet of garage space, we are dividing them into a theater room and a game room. We are adding dual mini splits or like a wall hanging mini split, which now converts. So the way I do a garage renovation, I literally add a faux wall behind the garage doors. So now it looks as if it's a room. You're entering a room and you don't see those tracks. You don't see the garage doors. That's one of my pet peeves. I like to see it as a room. And I then, depending on the size of it, either I divide it into 2, make it like a gym or a theater, or a gym or a game room. Whatever combination works out and however the project allows us. But now you have converted that 600 square feet of space into heated cool, which is a straightforward value add right there. Right. And let me give you an example of a property that we just worked on. I don't know, everyone knows Tyler Kuhn, the CEO of Savvy Realty. We just worked on his project in Asheville, North Carolina. He had a 5-bedroom home in North Carolina, which, he wanted to just future-proof his portfolio. And in January, he was like, hey, Ishita, can you please help me with this property? It was a running Airbnb, performing from 180 to, I think last year it did 140, because, the second year was not performing as well, but it was anywhere from 150 to 180K gross revenue. And in month of January 2025, he appraised this house at 1.1 million. He had bought the property at 850 with $50,000 seller credit, so all in at $800,000. Put in 80K in furnishings in 2023. 2025 January, he reappraises his property to 1.1. So he was happy that he had some equity sitting he could pull in for his future projects. Mm-hmm. And he told me that, hey, Ishita, I have this X amount of budget. He gave me a budget of 150 to 180, where I went and told him that he had an incredible landscape area in the back. Mm-hmm. He had 3 car garages, which were not utilized properly. He had literally almost 7 bedrooms, 5 bedroom plus 2 bonus rooms, which were not utilized for the maximum heads and beds. So what we did were 3 things. We went in and reconfigured all the bedrooms, and Now from a 20% occupancy property, it became 28. And Asheville doesn't have any 28, like it, or probably has one more property that has sleeps 28 people.
Okay.
Second, we went in and converted 3-car garage into game room and a theater. So that's 900 square feet of garage conversion into a heated and cool space. We went in and converted, we removed the one fire pit that he had in his backyard and made it into a resort style landscape. And we added pickleball court, fire pit, volleyball, spa deck, which has hot tub, sauna. We made like a whole grill station and an outdoor dining experience. And we started the project in February, completed in end of March is when we completed, and he went live 1st of April. And then he thought, let me reappraise it again with all the added amenities that we've added. Literally, Tyler and I, we were hoping 1.4 will make us very happy, keeping our fingers crossed. Please, Lord, help us. 1.5 would make us thrilled, like we would be thrilled. The appraisal came in at 2.1.
Wow.
That's $1 million of equity in that property in 4 months.
Wow.
And we were all in at 300K. So now he's refinancing, he cashed out, and then he's putting on all his future projects that he has. This is how you build wealth. And this is what design helps you to do.
Hey girl, if you've ever thought about taking back control from Airbnb, you're not alone. And Lodgify is the tool to do it. Did you know that with Lodgify, you can create your own stunning direct booking website, manage everything from guest communication to payments all in one place, and finally say goodbye to the high OTA fees? Now, here's the best part. STR Sisterhood listeners, you get 20% off all yearly plans, plus free personalized onboarding that's worth over $3,000. Just use code STRSH20 and start building your business your way. So powerful. So powerful. I love hearing that story. And I was just, mentioning before we pushed record, I was watching some of that walkthrough when you walked him through the property. I need to finish the video because now I want to go back knowing the numbers. Yeah. I want to turn to design mistakes because I'm sure with your experience, you see so many opportunities that folks have, but you probably see all the mistakes that folks make as well. What do you feel like are some of the most common mistakes you're seeing these days in short-term rental design?
I'll come back to the basics. One is not maximizing the heads and the beds. I really see sometimes people just put anything in any furniture in any space, not thinking through. If it's a rec room, for example, and you just put an L section couch, I understand you want seating, but can we think differently and can we add a pull-out couch and another 3-seater couch and accent chairs? It'll give you the same configuration. Probably you'll miss out on one person, but that allows you for 2 more people sleeping capacity. And so rearranging the furniture would be one of the things that I would say, just think through what is the maximum potential that the house can accommodate for. Obviously, keeping in mind the ratio of the beds and the bath. You don't want to just like stuff people in it as well. Secondly, what I've seen is like sometimes either they put too much attention to the outdoors and they'll deck out the entire exterior, but when you come inside the house, it's like vanilla white and there is nothing going on. Right. So like with that no cohesiveness, like you want to feel that whatever is going on the inside is going outside and both areas are talking to one another. I am a big believer that a vacation should start from the minute your guest steps in on your doorstep, and they should feel like, yeah, that's where the vacation starts. They don't want to escape the house, but making it a destination in itself. The other mistakes, not keeping, I would really say Airbnb, the biggest short-term rentals differentiator from hotels is the access to kitchens. That a family can come and cook their meals. They don't have to worry about going to restaurants, and that's what they can all live together. So I think this is like the easiest amenity any host can give is fully equipped kitchen, making sure it is fully stocked. It has each and everything. Just think through as a as your, if you cook, what all would you need to make to bake something or to cook a full meal? Anything and everything that you need, your guests need.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I would say that. Basic, I would just say beddings, making sure that they're nice and white and crisp. It just makes you feel hospitality great. Makes you feel clean. Those are like the basic things that you can do and up your game. But design mistake wise, I would just say making sure that there is cohesiveness flowing from one area or the other. Sometimes I've stepped into some of the mountain properties and I see zebra artwork or shells in the bathrooms. Make sure that you're literally designing for your local market, what it is known for. If it's mountain, where in the mountains are you? What it is known for, and bring the local inspirations in your house.
I couldn't agree more. So, I'm a beach girl at heart, and a lot of my properties are at the beach. And I cannot tell you how many properties I have walked through that are with reds and browns at the beach. And I'm thinking, okay, I'm no expert designer, but this does not look like a beach property.
Exactly.
Right? So it's so funny that you say that, because I have yet to see shells in a bathroom in a mountain property, but now I'm going to keep my eye out for it.
That's awesome. Yeah. I think color palette, you have to nail the color palette, and you have to take inspiration from what's going around. Just lift up your head and look around rather than just Pinterest board sometimes. You get so much inspirations from what's going on. I remember designing a property in Destin, Florida, and I was just sitting on the beach and I had my coral sandals on the beach and I saw the turquoise waters. That's why my literally teal and coral was the color palette of my exterior of my house, and that's where I got my inspiration from.
Amazing.
So
amazing. I want to ask you about small spaces, because this is something that for those of us who are condo owners at the beach, we don't have the ability, as an example with a condominium, to impact the exterior of our guest stay. We can only impact the four walls in which they're sitting. And for a lot of us who are investing in condos at the beach, and a lot of times they're smaller condos, so they don't necessarily have the ability to have a heads and beds play, for an example,
right?
Because you're in a very confined space. I'm just curious, have you ever worked on a super small condo project, like a studio or a one bedroom? And if someone came to you, what would your recommendations be for those types of projects?
Right. So I love giving examples, and that's all I'm going to give. I have worked on small projects, and so I love the way you said the four walls, right? But that's when we forget that there's a fifth surface, that is ceiling. Right. So I just feel like if you're in a beach condo, I understand the minimum height is like around 8 to 9. You don't get more height than that. So it's not that you have potential. My number one rule is looking for potential where I can add more heads and beds. So living room would be one of the spaces if I can add a trundle daybed or a sofa pull-out couch, that would increase the occupancy. And I think many of us will do that. But then I would differentiate myself in terms of design. When you go to beach condo, Stacey, you'll see a lot of people just working with white walls and, like the blues and the rattans decor. That's about it. I think I would just encourage everyone to think like, what can you do to make yourself different? Can you work with ceilings? Can you add a wallpaper on your ceiling, or can you add a bold color in your ceiling? Just make it dramatic. Can you go just literally on the opposite spectrum than what the other audiences are doing? Mm-hmm. And I'll give you an example of a property that we worked on. It was not an A-frame, but a very small 800 square foot tiny home. Mm-hmm. And it had 1.5 bedroom. So it was not that we could add a whole lot, but one bedroom had the height, it had a good 12-foot ceiling. And that is when I'm always looking for opportunities where can I add amenities and at some fun or like some aha moment that people would feel like, wow, this is different. And that's when we literally added like a whole built-in hammock so there was like a small tiny twin bed, and then we extended and built-in hammock so that it became an extension of that bed where people could lie down, they could read their books, and it photographs so well. And it is, again, a differentiator than other tiny homes that were not giving such amenities. Multifunctional use of furniture is something that I would definitely get in tiny spaces. Keeping it minimalistic, do not clutter a whole lot in your smaller spaces. If you're working with smaller spaces, make sure that you're keeping it very clean. It'll start feeling cluttersome very, very quick. Only essentials, lighter tones would be great choice of furniture, with one or two bold pieces of furniture if you want to, just as an accent piece, or keep one thing as an accent. Either it could be a wall or it could be a piece of furniture. Let's not do it all just because you're seeing the bigger properties here. So those will be some of my tips and tricks for tiny homes or smaller properties.
I was going to ask you about ceilings because I was looking at your design portfolio, and I think there is such creativity when I look at the properties that you've worked on with the ceilings. Like, you do some super cool stuff with those ceilings. I'm just curious about the logistics of putting wallpaper on ceilings. Talk to us about, is that feasible to have I'm going to say a regular wallpaper hanger who's used to hanging wallpaper on walls? Are they accustomed to doing it on ceilings as well, or do you have to train them how to do it?
No, I think they're accustomed to hanging it on those ceilings.
Okay.
I've not had any questions or any problems with telling a wallpaper hanger to hang the same wallpaper on the ceiling. So I think that's very easy. You can literally take like 2x1 pine boards and literally start carving a design and carry it from the wall to the ceiling. That becomes very, very interesting. We have started working. I don't know if you guys are aware of our recent works that we've been putting out there, but we are working with lights a whole lot. We are working with specialty lighting. We're making these huge, humongous soccer fields on the ceiling with multicolored light. So everything that's custom. We are incorporating light in our feature walls as well. So now it's just not a play of paint, wallpaper, and wood, but we have added another element to it where we are working with light. I really feel short-term rental industry is really evolving and growing at a rapid pace. It's literally going to a realm of hospitality, and people have started comparing it with resorts. So that's where we are looking at, like, how can we make people feel more luxurious? Play of light is always great. So if you cannot do these specialty lightings, I would say work with sconces, work with, just pendant lights on the side. You get such variety of sconces that cast shadow and play of light and shadow in varied way that creates that interest in that room. So I would really suggest play of lights as well.
Love that. That's so fun. That's so fun. I'm curious to get your perspective on non-vacation rental properties. So we've been talking about, properties in the mountains or properties in the beach. And so often folks are also in an urban setting where they are doing corporate rentals, where they are doing midterm stays. From your perspective, how much does design play into properties of that nature versus the vacation type properties? And what should folks consider when it comes to the level of design they should focus on for those urban stays?
I would say that I would go, if it is in the urban, I would still experiment, but be more chic and be more, I think, urban decor, more bold. I would play with colors, but have a good balance that you are catering to corporate crowd too. So if I have a nice, geometrical wallpaper that is, if it's in New York, for example, or Chicago, for example, and I have a nice big bold wallpaper on the wall, I will play with that very nice muted cosmopolitan furniture with lots of curves, boucle material, make it rich and upscale. Again, play of light would be great. Be it sconces, be it floor lamps, I would play with that a whole lot. Minimalism would be something, because now you're working with condo apartment buildings. So you want to be minimalist but functional, making sure that you're giving them a desk space, or, a small little dining room if you can accommodate, or a dining table. So minimalistic, but having everything. I think research is everything. I love going in hotels and staying and just observing as to how did they plan things. A lot of my inspiration comes from my travels. So if you see Aloft, Marriott hotels, Aloft hotels, if you just go and stay in their rooms, they're fantastically designed rooms, very small but super functional. They have literally everything in that 300 square feet rooms. And Paris has been one of my favorite places to travel. Again, Europe has such space crunch, and the way their hotels are designed are absolutely stunning. So I just think minimalism, making sure that you're using right material play and pattern play and balances everything. I think this is like a whole design topic in itself, right? But just how to achieve balance.
That's gonna be episode 2, version 2 of this interview.
Yeah, probably next time I'll get slides and I'll teach.
There you go. We'll do a webinar. I love it. Okay, next I want to ask you about hiring a designer, because there are so many folks who do short-term rental design these days. What are some key questions you feel like folks should be asking someone they're considering hiring for a design for their property?
I think the designer should understand the short-term rental industry. Secondly, I think the designer needs to be versatile, because, once a client, I feel as an investor, I will be a client forever, and my investments are not going to stop. For tax benefits, I'm going to invest once a year at least. So I'm not going to be just focusing on one market. I might explore other markets. So if I love that designer, I want to make sure that designer is versatile, that she's able to design a property in beach or mountain or Bourbon Trail or wherever, right? So versatility would be another thing. I just wouldn't want my designer to design a residential home. That's the only thing. It's a vacation home. So you have to literally be able to identify the two. That if the designer is not very bold in taking bolder steps and designing, then she might not be the right fit. She needs to understand data, because I think a lot of our research is backed by data a lot. We are researching the top properties. We are studying their DNA, a lot of pulling data. What are the top properties performing? We are, then that gives us our scope of work on what to add. So they need to understand the whole return on investment, because it is just not pretty design. It's literally, we are designing for return on investment for our clients.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
I think a designer should be able to voice out. If there are times that my clients have come in and told me, I really want a pickleball court, and I have been like, absolutely not. It's not the best investment for you in this market. So a designer should be able, because she's looking out for you or he's looking out for you. You want to make sure that your money is going towards the right way.
Absolutely. I'm curious, if someone is hiring a designer for the first time, how involved should they expect to be in that design process? So from an owner's perspective, let's say I hire a designer, is it, okay, I'm just going to turn the property plans over to the designer and they're going to shoot me back an email in a week and everything's going to be done? Or there are several meetings? Can you walk us through what to expect?
That's an interesting question, and I would not like to generalize it, because every design firm works very, very differently. I would like to tell everyone the way we work.
Okay.
So when an owner or investor comes to us that this is our property, we study. The first meeting is what we call it a consultation call. So we're literally doing a market study with them. We are studying the market. We are giving them inspirations and like what can be done with your property, looking at the data. And then we literally walk them through the estimations, that this is like a ballpark and it's like literally a buffet laid out in front of you. These are the things like low budget, high budget. Where do you want to be? Not that, and they can tell must-haves, nice to do things, and, things that we can ignore. So that is the list that's our first meeting. The second meeting, once they get in contract with us and whatnot, once we're in design contract, we get into design kickoff meeting, which is where it's like a deep dive into the inspiration. Now we are literally studying the floor plan. We are trying to see how can we tweak floor plans, how can we maximize the square footage that we have, how can we arrange the furniture. So we are literally showing them that with all of the inspiration of how each and every room can be designed. So we are not the design firm who would be like, hey, submit everything, submit your inspirations, and then after 2 weeks you will get your design. We literally have multiple meetings throughout the process, and then they say yes to everything, and we freeze the design, and that's when the execution kicks off. So after design phase, it's literally just walking through them. Probably we phase out the entire design phase into like floor plates. So if it's 2 floor plates, we'll have 2 design meetings later, and then we'll have 1 more week of revisions, and then we get into the construction drawing phase and then the execution phase.
I love that. Okay, cool. What if someone is thinking, well, I don't know if I really need a designer. Like, I have a good eye for decor.
Yeah.
What say you?
Absolutely. I mean, if you think that, if you know and if you have confidence that you can do great with the property, I would encourage them to do it themselves. Why not, right? But making sure that, again, a lot of times I have had owners come to me and they get emotionally tied thinking that this is our house. It's not your house. It's an investment property. It's a house that you're going to share with multiple families, and you have to make it generic. You don't have to make it your personal home. So that's when you need to detach yourself and not be super emotionally attached with the property. That was be my only recommendation to them. As much as you can experiment, try to be different than what your market is offering. I think you are up for success.
Love that. And I also think, at least in my own experience, it's often a challenge for someone's spouse, at least my spouse. I guess I shouldn't generalize. It's a challenge for my spouse to not see it as a personal home, right? And so I also think a designer can help balance out maybe 2 partners who may have differing ideas about the design or what to do. If there's a third party who's a professional, okay, great. Let's trust the professional because they know what they're doing. So it can kind of alleviate some challenging conversations as well.
Absolutely. And that's what we need to talk to the clients. A lot of my clients are fully into just investment mode. I have a percentage of clients who are like, this is our second home. We want to put it on, short-term rental just so that it is cash flowing and paying for itself. But we see ourselves coming and living in this house in like next 2 years. So, or move in here or whatever. So we need to know their backstory as well. In the end, I am working to build their future. So as a designer, I also cannot be anal about, hey, this is a short-term rental, let us go wild. I have to know what their intention is with the property, because sometimes if you're looking at it as your second home, wanting to come and spend more time, you do not want as much wear and tear in your home. How much ever perfect you make your short-term rental, you are going to attract a lot of guests, and there's going to be a lot of wear and tear. It's not going to be as pristine as your primary home is. So, you have to have a good understanding as to who you're designing for and know your avatar.
Amen. Amen to that. This has been so fun. Now I want to move to the lightning round. Okay, so I'm going to ask you a series of questions, and I'm just going to ask you to answer with the very first thing that comes to mind. First question is, where is your favorite place to vacation?
Whoa, tough one. But I think you take me anywhere in the Europe, and I think that would be my favorite place to vacation. I love Europe so much. As an architect, it just takes my breath away every time. Any place you go to Spain, you go to Paris, you go to I don't know, France. I just love Europe.
I actually just got back from Europe. I was there for about 2.5 weeks. I was on a cruise, the Mediterranean cruise, and then we had gone to Portugal and Italy. But and I'm not an architect, okay? But the architecture is just stunning. And you cannot even fathom the age of these buildings.
Yep.
It's like our country wasn't even born yet, when this building was built. It's wild to think about.
Yeah, I mean, Barcelona takes my breath away every time. And I just absolutely love Europe. It's just so stunning. I want to go to Italy so bad. Hopefully next summer.
Oh, I highly recommend it. And the food, I keep saying Italian food in the US is not like Italian food in Italy.
I love Greece. I hope you had a wonderful time in Greece, though.
Oh, it was so wonderful. Again, the Greek salads, I can't tell you how many folks I've said this to. The Greek salads in Greece are so different than the Greek salads here in the US.
They give you a slab of feta cheese on top of it.
It's so good. And there's no lettuce. It's just the vegetable. Okay, we digress here. All right, what's one place you've never been that you want to visit?
I think we just talked about it. Italy. I really want to go to Italy. It's like a 1 month vacation for me.
Well, it's funny that you say that because we were there prior to our cruise, and then we were there for several stops through our cruise. And I said to my husband, I just want to go back and explore Italy. Like, it is amazing. I could stay there for an entire month and not feel like I'd seen everything.
Like Florence, Milan, Nice, like there's so much.
Yeah. So wonderful. All right, next question. What's something you've learned that you didn't expect to learn through your journey in short-term rentals?
Selection of furniture. I mean, you do select as a designer, but now thinking as a mom, thinking as a guest, thinking as a pet parent, like looking at each and every aspect of it. Like, I've had clients, and sometimes I would not think because I don't have kids, and they're like, oh, the kids are just going to move that table very easily. So can we change it? I'm like, oh, okay. Or even like literally this last project is what I learned was not giving nightstands on your side tables, because I've never experienced, we are hosts ourselves, and I have designed multiple properties. Never heard of a story, but there was this client who was like, can we have side tables? I do not want nightstands. And I was like, why? We do not want to have drawers. We have had 2 scenarios where we have had guests leave loaded guns in our
guns. Yeah.
So I was like, oh my God. So now that is a lesson learned, and we've changed that. So there have been multiple lessons learned throughout the process. So, just knowing the furniture and making sure that you're not designing for yourself. You're not designing. There will be weird people who might come and stay. And then people who might forget things. And then, you have a kid coming in, and you do not want those liability and accidents at all. So you have to think through it all.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. All right, next question. What's the best piece of advice you've ever been given?
I would say work hard now so that you can have fun later.
Oh.
Yeah. You always you're in your 20s and people think, let's have all the fun now. You only live once in your 20s. Agreed. But what if you were to just work hard in your 20s and make your 30s better? Mm-hmm. Right? So I think that is like the best advice. And I do believe in that, because you only live once, and you only have that energy at that time that you can push yourself, and you can go be a go-getter, achieve anything that you want, and you can have easier life when you are older.
Okay. And I want to challenge that and add another layer to that. I do believe working hard is so important. And yet I believe that life is too short, because there are so many people that I know that only worked hard and chose to put off the joy till later in life, and then they didn't make it till later in life. And so I also believe working hard and doing what you love is so incredibly important, and enjoying your life, having balance, not necessarily, I don't consider it work-life balance. It's a business that's aligned with the life you want to live. Right?
Yeah. But I completely agree with that. And also just doing what you want to do and not doing for what world expects you to do, or what world is doing, and just doing it so that you can fit in, or it might not be the right place for you. It's not the right group of friends for you. You need to push yourself to be a better version of yourself every day. But yes, achieving balance is what we are all striving for. But yeah, I truly agree. You do not have to burn yourself out and not enjoy the moment as well.
Amen. Amen to that. All right, last question. What's one thing and or person that you're grateful for today?
I would really say my husband. He has been... he's my life partner, business partner, literally wind beneath my wings. I think he pushes me every day harder and motivates me and makes me a better version of myself every day. So I really am grateful for him.
I love that. I hope he hears that.
I hope so too. He doesn't get to hear it very much, so might as well. No, he does.
There you go. You should definitely play him the episode and say, listen, honey, listen to what I said about you.
I am more words of affirmation. That's my love language. So I keep saying that. He knows that, and he'll hear it now too. So.
I love it. Ishita, if someone wants to learn more about you or the services that you offer, where is the best place for folks to find you online?
I think the best place would be Instagram. My handle is ishita.interiors. We post, and we are getting more diligent about posting more often, but you can find me. You can DM me. I am pretty active on Instagram, a whole lot. I think that would be the best place. You can find me on Facebook too, Messenger, text. That would be great as well.
Love it. Thank you so much for being with us. This has been so great.
Thank you for having me, Stacey. It was an absolute pleasure.
Hey, girlfriend, if today's episode sparked a new idea or gave you clarity or reminded you that you're not in this alone, imagine what could happen if you were surrounded by powerhouse women just like you every single day. Inside the STR Sisterhood, we go beyond the podcast mic and into real conversations, real support, and real growth together. Whether you're just starting or you're scaling your short-term rental business, this is where connection meets momentum. Your next level isn't meant to be built in isolation. It's meant to be built in community. So come join us inside the STR Sisterhood at the strsisterhood.m as in mighty, and as in networks.co. And let's grow bigger, bolder, and braver together. I'll see you on the inside.